Unsolved.
JonBenet Ramsey case? There was no ransom note. After Patsy realized that her shower was broken, she put on her clothes from the night before, did her hair and makeup, and then went down to the second floor. She looked at one of JonBenet's red jumpsuits, and it had a stain, and she tried to get the stain out. And then she went down the spiral staircase and went to the coffee machine and started it. And then after getting the coffee ready, she got a couple things out of the refrigerator, and then she noticed the time. It was 5:52 a.m. And so she was worried that they would be late. So she went upstairs to JonBenet's room, opened the door, and JonBenet wasn't in her bed. She looked around the room, and then she left and went into Burke's bedroom, and he was asleep, and JonBenet wasn't in there. And then she got really nervous and went to the bottom of the stairs to the third floor and yelled for John. And John Ramsey came down fully dressed and asked what was wrong. And she said that JonBenet was missing. She wasn't in her bedroom or in Burke's room. So they both went downstairs to the first floor and looked around for JonBenet. And they both got really worried. And John said, "Call 911.
What's going on there, ma'am? Hi, please explain to me what's going on, okay? Our daughter's gone. How old is your daughter? 6 years old. She's gone. 6 years old. Please. Okay, what's your name? Are you Patsy Ramsey? I'm the mother. Oh my God. Please. I'm sending an officer over, okay? Please. Do you know how long she's been gone? No, I don't. Please, we just got out. Is she right here? Oh my God, please. Okay, girl. There's somebody. I am, honey. Please. Take a deep breath for me, okay? Hurry. Patsy.
Officer Rick French arrived at the Ramsey house around 6:15 a.m. and he went inside and met Patsy and John, and he went up to JonBenet's room and looked around there, and then he looked around the first floor, and then he went down into the basement, and he went to the wine cellar door, and he opened the door, turned on the light, and saw JonBenet Ramsey dead, lying on the floor, wrapped in a white blanket. So the question is, if there was no ransom note, then who did it? Come on, open your mind and think a little bit. What kind of crime is this? Someone went in, got JonBenet, took her to the basement, assaulted her, and killed her, and left her in the wine cellar. Well, it's obvious that the intruder was there to assault JonBenet, and he knew certain things before he carried out this attack. He knew where JonBenet's bedroom was. He knew about the back spiral staircase. He knew about John's business, and he knew about foreign factions and garrotes. Well, who are the suspects? Well, it was obviously somebody that knew JonBenet Ramsey, and most likely somebody who just met JonBenet Ramsey. So it could have been a neighbor like Glenn Meyer, or it could have been one of Fleet and Priscilla's relatives or friends that were there for the holidays. Both of them were at the Christmas party on December 23rd, and both had access to keys to John and Patsy's house. Now we know that there was a ransom note, but what's happened is it's confused everybody as to who did the crime, because it doesn't make sense for an intruder to write the ransom note. But what if the intruder just didn't make sense and he wrote that ransom note? That ransom note has clues about who he is. For example, he knew about the back spiral staircase and notes being left on it, or that Patsy and John used it often. He knew that John was from Atlanta, at least prior to being in Boulder. And he knew John's name very well. And he might have heard gossip about the $118,000 bonus that John got. And he might have heard other gossip about the Ramseys. What kind of human being strangles a 6-year-old girl to death? You're telling me that that person couldn't sneak into somebody's house on Christmas night? That person couldn't kill a child in somebody's basement while the parents were upstairs sleeping? And that person couldn't spend 20 minutes writing a phony ransom note? I think that person could. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and we might have to give Clifford Gaston another look and just see what we know about him.